the powder in the glass. Pour an alcoholic beverage of your choice. I prefer whiskey. I also like to add a little bit of hot dog water to mine. It's just personal. Find a nice sedentary position. Relax. And stay there.
Nice.
Couch body.
Woo! That was weird. What happened? Let's do it. All right, welcome to Lunch Therapy with Joel Marshall. I'm your host. Next to me is a flyer for Richard Gaddis's show, which is happening on Saturday night, March 23rd. Showtime, doors open 6:30, showtime 7:30. If you like Frank Sinatra music, if you like music of the certain era, this is the man who delivers it for you at the Saint and Sinner. Check it out. Hoy Pam Palmieri, Hoity Toity Friday. By the way, Pam Palmieri is going to join me on Tuesday for Lunch Therapy Barefoot Tuesday, so get ready for that. Tuesday at noon. I'm out of breath. Like I ran here. I ran over to the show. I was, taking the garbage out. I don't know what I was doing. Hummingbirds singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings, Joel, and learn to fly. A little Beatles reference there. Hopefully Richard will be playing Blackbird, Hummingbird style. For those of you who don't know, this show is for the mentally ill and also for the mentally well. It's for everybody. It's actually for everybody. We call ourselves the Hummingbirds. The show's been going on for 4 years at this point. We're in our 5th year. Today we've got an incredible guest. Fridays we interview magnetic, intelligent, photogenic people. But today we have Peter Murphy, comedian. Hoy, Kamala Lopez. So great to see you. Peter Murphy, I didn't know this, but he's a chrome denier. He's like an anti-chrome person. We're going to have to talk to him about that. I see him in the green room shaking his head. I don't know. We'll find out what's going on with that. Some kind of conspiracy going on. That's Pam Palmieri. That's me. Matt Wright is here. Are you out of breath because you were ejected from a cosmic kaleidoscope? That's right. I'm flying through a kaleidoscope right now. Let's get into this thing. Holy Jeff Lohman from Belgium. Jeff's there. It's loud. This music's damn loud. You know what's going on is Jeff is in Belgium, and he's going to see our friend whose name is Sven de Kock. And we went to high school with him. He was our foreign exchange student, and they're going to get together, make a baby. I don't know what they're going to do. Happy Commando Friday. Kamala, Jeff, everybody's here. All right, let's do this thing called Lunch Therapy. Oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm so excited. Maybe that's why I'm out of breath. I don't know. But this comedian that we have on today, Peter Murphy, he is omnipresent, I think. He's like everywhere. He's all over the place. I saw him in Adam Lieblein's showcase. Both of our agent, our commercial agent, does showcase. That's a rhino behind me, by the way. And I just found him hilarious. And luckily we're having him on the show. Did you know that a group of rhinos is called a crash? See, things you don't know. I want to say thank you to our Patreons. Patreons Mike Knox, Todd Lee, Robert Lopez, Jay Patterson, Mama J from the Trust, Pam Palmieri, Neil Phillip, Sethward, and of course, Mary Marks. Thanks so much. If anybody wants to contribute to the show, please do. Please head on over to patreon.com/Joel Marshall. That's the way we do it nowadays here in the entertainment world. Jeff, don't smell the canals. Oh, apparently the canals in Brussels. Stinky, I guess. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Or maybe they smell like roses. I don't know. I'll stay clear, Matt. Mostly smelly beer. You know, in Belgium, they've got beer on every corner. And then inside the beer, they have another beer. And it's good, actually. That is a good choice, smelling the beer. All right, let's get going. I am so looking forward to seeing Peter. He doesn't know when he's coming on. He has no idea. He's going to be here any second. He's in the green room with my assistant Boney. They're passing the bong back and forth or whatever they do in there to get ready for the show. This is the thing where we calm the F down and do some breathing. So let's do it. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Yeah, I can hear Peter. This is good. Let it go. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. One more time. In through the nose. Let it go. Just one more thing to set the mood in this intro to the show, this epic intro to Peter Murphy. We're going to listen to a little music. All right, I know that Peter's going to enjoy this because he's a musician himself, has an album. He has an album of music. No handpan, though. Yeah, I don't think. We'll have to ask him. This is Marcel Hutter. Oh, yeah. Woo! Love this. Boney's lungs are to weed as Boney's stomach is to lasagna. It's so true. Elephant friend Carl, I believe his name is. Feels good. Thanks, Marcel Hutter. All right, let's get into this thing called Interview Friday. Okay, Peter Murphy. Wow. Let's get some intro here. Boy, that was a lot of relaxation. I'm feeling really good. Peter Murphy. Sometimes people call him Peter Francis Murphy the Fourth. Yeah, right? I mean, that's right? And also, he overcame the cults of Hollywood improv and went on to an Academy Award-winning performance. Well, okay, maybe he didn't win the Academy Award, but the movie won the award. Oppenheimer. Yes, he was in the movie Oppenheimer. I'm not lying about this.
Sure. That is
No.
true.
He and the other Murphy, right? Cillian Murphy or Killian, or I don't know how you say that crap. I only know how to say Peter Murphy. He also does a thing called the Never Ending Comedy Night over there at the Hollywood Improv. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. He also has the Florida Versus podcast where he brings on somebody and they talk about where they're from. And he talks endlessly about Florida because he's obsessed with it, because that's where he came from. Just like me, I'm obsessed with Seattle because I came up out of the Puget Sound. He also does NFL Tuesday Gaming Night, Headlines of Flappers. He's in this weird touch grass TikTok series. I don't know. We're going to have to ask him about it. He loves to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken between donuts. Maybe we're going to explore that as well. Mm-hmm. He has a special called Unlucky. I believe it's all Audible, and you can find it there on the web. There's a link in the show notes. Let's get into this thing. This is called Interview Friday with Peter Murphy.
I'm half Puerto Rican, half Irish. Yeah. Which woo? That for the Irish? Yeah. Get those dirty Puerto Ricans out of here. Yes, I'm half Puerto Rican, half Irish. I'm what they were trying to prevent in West Side Story. They didn't want those two kids to get together and have a child because if they did, it would come out looking like someone left Jimmy Fallon out in the sun for too long. Oh, dude, it's so much fun. So good. Oh, man, this is great. Oh, man, this is so good. This is sick. So, half Puerto Rican, half Irish, but I only identify with my third ethnicity, Floridian. Yeah. Is anyone here from Florida? Woo! Yeah. We're in Florida. Miami. Oh, yeah, man. Love Miami. Best thing about Miami? Cocaine. Worst thing about Miami? The cocaine!
I blew the shift at the end. You pointed to Ginny Sykes' brother, Rex Sykes, and you were like, now you're awake.
Oh.
That was cool. Welcome to Lunch Therapy.
Thank you so much for having me, Joel. Can you hear me loud and clear? Are we good?
Yeah, you sound like $1 million.
Oh, good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for taking a lunch, with me.
Yeah.
This is fun. I'm happy to be, sailing over the beautiful Gulf Coast of Florida right now.
Isn't it beautiful?
Ziplining before. And thanks for listing all those things if we want to talk about it. Also, that show that you were talking about that you'd gone to, put on by Adam, of Iris Talent. Yeah, at the Improv. It was listed on Bands in Town as the other Peter Murphy, the lead singer Bauhaus performing, and he had to make a post saying, "This is not musician Peter Murphy."
Really? No way.
It's still on his Instagram. It's his most recent Instagram post, and his Instagram is Peter Murphy Official, and I'm on Instagram as Peter_Murphy. And he had to make it's actually quite funny because he had to make, what was seemingly a public notice of his first time acknowledging me, by the way, that this was in fact not him. And he scribbled out, his name, he wrote essentially in pen, this is not Peter Murphy. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's it right there. He goes, look at that. Isn't that so silly?
I love that. It's great advertising for you, for one thing.
I suppose I get a couple people that, are super into, I think there's a comment on there of me. I go, I'll do one song. But sometimes people recognize the name. Other times people are surprised to see that. And, I think he still trumps me in a Google search. So good for him.
He's like the goth king, right? I mean, the king of the goths, apparently.
That's exactly right. Yeah. In fact, he had been touring recently, in the last, 5-6 years, and had been doing a lot of tributes to Bowie, because I think he worked alongside Bowie on a few projects, but he's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Do you ever think that that's going to be any kind of a problem? It seems like it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be, maybe you got some of his crowd. Maybe some of the crowd showed up. They didn't see the Instagram post. Maybe they were there. Maybe Rex Sykes was there to see the Peter Murphy from Bauhaus. Who knows?
That's true. What's interesting is, and this might be, you might be too deep too soon, but I'm doing my best to be as authentic as possible. And it feels like a lot of times the internet, filled with like maybe clickbait or, catchy titles or something like that, is meant to trick people. And I don't want to trick people in that way. If they happen to stumble across me, then fine. But most of my social media is for people that already happen to know me.
Yeah.
And so, I wouldn't. There was a time, and I'm only saying this because there was a time where I would essentially like, I got to use like every weird hashtag, or like, make like some sort of like debasing clip, or like, something all over the place, just to get attention, to draw people. I got to do this one thing to draw people to this other thing.
Oh, yeah.
And now I just want to do my thing.
That's cool. How did you come to that? Like, did you do anything that, like, was there a turning point for you?
I'll tell. Yeah, exactly. I was working in the esports world for a bit, and also as like, a union actor for 2 years now.
Yeah.
The Screen Actors Guild. I was given some really poor information from some people that were supposed to be helpful to me, like my agents and stuff. And this information had spread to other people, like contemporaries of mine in like the acting and comedy world. And it was like, oh, don't join the union until you have to. They kind of stress that about the ability to work. But honestly, since I've joined the Screen Actors Guild, I've done 4 national commercials now. One's about to start airing. And I was in, like, as you mentioned,
Yes.
The best movie of last year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I should have done that sooner. But in how I got to the conclusion that we had just talked about was, working in the esports world, there's a ton of it's like the Wild West, you know what I mean? And there's kind of like no union to protect you, or to say like, hey, this is right, this is not right, or like, to look out for you. And so I felt a lot of the things that I was doing, pre, you mentioned the KFC thing, but the pre-Tastemade, pre my involvement with Tastemade, I felt like I was in a lot of positions that were trying to trick people, or like, just get numbers to appease advertisers, and it was inauthentic all the way through, whether from the title and the marketing to the actual numbers. And I was just like, all right, well, I'm not chasing this thing, and I'm not trying to fool anybody, so let's see where that gets me.
Do you think that that's a culturally responsible attitude to take? Like, do you think we're kind of messing up our culture by doing this kind of clickbait, kind of provoking people to click on things? And who cares about what the content is, as long as it gets people to come to your channel or whatever?
Yeah, and maybe me even using the term clickbait is antiquated, because I haven't heard that in conversation in a long time, but it's the best descriptor. Mm-hmm. The best way to describe what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I hope that, I don't know. I don't know. For me, I'm not trying to confuse anybody. That takes more effort than actually doing something that I think is like authentic and true. And, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, if I have to have an opinion on that stuff, it's like, man, if you think about everybody that's doing art or creating content, as it were, then you kind of get a little bogged down, like, oh, well, there's no room for me. There's like so much out there,
Yeah. There's so much.
So I try not to think about other people, and I'm of all the things that you mentioned, good work leads to more work, and I'm working on what will be a feature-length comedy special, visually and audio wise, that will be released later this year. So I just want something to plant my flag, to help me plant my flag, and the people that want to find me can find me, or the people that want to find Peter Murphy, the musician, will find me as well, by happenstance.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like what you're saying is, in order to, you have to find your unique voice. You have to be as authentically you as possible, and not worry about what the hell other people are doing, because that's the only way you can find your space, right? I mean,
yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. That's not like a new idea or new term, but I'll be honest. Coming out of Florida, as you mentioned, it's unsure what anybody should do or what we should do, and when everything's random, nothing's random. So it's kind of you kind of have no base to hold on to. Being in Florida is like being in the eye of the hurricane. It's cool. It's calm at your feet, but looking around, everything's random. So the whole world must be this way. So yeah. So I'm just trying to. I like trying to do what I can do.
Like, here's something that's completely unique. I'm just gonna play it.
I'm Peter Murphy. Welcome to the internet. This is Blue Cheese and Everton post-match show, where I try to say something positive about my favorite Premier League team, Everton, and then I try a new cheese. It's a new cheese to me. All right, well, when does a loss feel worse than a loss? When you were up and you missed a penalty. Rough go of it today, Blues, when we played at home. This will be our only home match for the next, I think, 3 fixtures. And, pretty rough against the Hammers. Didn't necessarily get hammered. Played decent for 90 minutes. And, as we all know now, areola is French for nipple and for getting shut out. A couple positives. We got to see Beto start. That's great. And he put himself in some dangerous positions, the least dangerous of which was the penalty spot, getting stopped in the first half. But
when's the cheese?
Kick off the second half, he scored a header.
I know. It comes later.
That's so good.
Rough
one today. 3-1. We lose to the Hammers. Good opportunity to gain some points. But we did start today with 4 extra points than we did at the last match day. And,
I like this. It's very unique.
So bad. On to the cheese.
Ah, there we go.
All right, we have today a Asiago rosemary and olive oil.
I gotta get past the cheese part.
It sounds amazing.
Whoa.
Oh, what is it? Is it good?
This is for ASMR. Yeah, this was good. What was it? Spongy, I think it was. It's like very like.
Sometimes the draw feels like a loss. Sometimes the loss feels like a worse loss.
Yeah. Onto the cheese.
But sometimes cheese smells like the bottom of a foot.
Oh yeah, this was bad.
That's
cheese was not great.
This cheese not good.
There's some cheese that
cheese will hit you back here,
Mm-hmm.
right where like.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling.
Hair doesn't grow,
and it kind of twinges.
This one's like hitting me at like the top of my mouth.
Wow,
John.
Tasty grape.
There's nothing. John would mess. There's nothing poor man about Everton. Everton are the People's Club. Let me remind you. And I am a Blue through and through ever since 2006. So,
John doesn't know anything. John doesn't know.
Come on, John.
Come on now. Come on. So it's interesting because I know nothing about that. My hometown they are into the old MLS, as they say, as Matt says. But so you're going for a very, very particular audience with this thing. But it's a large audience. Because everybody loves cheese, and a lot of people love football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, MLS. So it seems like it's good, and it seems like it's also. How did you become a fan of this MLS?
Great question. So, first thing, future job as far as future jobs and where you can see me in the future.
Yeah.
I'm working on something with Goal TV, Goal.com, which is a content creator for soccer across the world, but they're focusing on America now. I am an MLS fan of Orlando City. That's the jersey I'm wearing right now. Thought it'd be appropriate since I'm from Florida.
I like it. Yeah.
And I became a fan of theirs because I was living in Orlando at the time, and they announced that they were bringing in a team, and I started working for them in their first 2 seasons in 2010 and 11. No, first season was 2011, but I worked with the team as the in-stadium host and event coordinator, and then and then I moved to Los Angeles. Then I moved to Los Angeles. How I became a Everton fan. Everton is in Liverpool, England. So John was right about that. And our biggest rival, it's hard to call them a rival because, it's more like a big brother where they just simply beat us up continuously.
For your own good.
Exactly. I suppose. Is Liverpool.
Yeah.
Is Liverpool. What's interesting about Everton and Liverpool is they're separated by a graveyard. Only about 200 yards separate each stadium, which is incredible.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's pretty neat. I've been a fan since 2006. My favorite soccer player growing up was Tim Howard, and he was a goalkeeper for the U.S. men's national team, and then he ended up playing for Everton, one of the longest-serving Evertonians, and as far as like club appearances, playing for the team. And then Everton, I believe, still hold the record for most American players ever, with Joe Max Moore, Landon Donovan, Tim Howard, Brian McBride, and there's another one that I'm forgetting. However, just this past year, just this season in 2023, I believe it was August, I was able to go over to Liverpool and see an Everton match. And they were very, very nice to me. They love when Americans visit, and in fact, this is the reputation of Everton. When I was there, I was like shopping in like a plaza, just kind of like killing time. One of the days I was there, and they were like, "Oh, I noticed your accent. Are you from America?" I go, "Yeah, but what are you here for?" "Oh, I went to see the Everton match yesterday." They go, "All this way to see Everton?" And I was like, yeah, I learned my lesson because we lost. And so, also known as the People's Club. Also, Sylvester Stallone is a fan of Everton, and Everton was famously in the Creed movie, the first Creed movie.
Really? Did you ever play soccer, or was it like a thing that you were an athlete as well?
Great question. Yeah, I played soccer all my life. I played all the way up until college. I played Division I soccer for Birmingham Southern College in Alabama. And then through an unfortunate semester, not only did I had to have shoulder surgery. I was a goalkeeper, like Tim Howard, my favorite player. Mm-hmm. I tore my labrum, my rotator cuff, and my bicep.
Oh, man. Ow.
All at once. Oh. Yeah, my shoulder was dislocated.
How'd you do it?
My shoulder was dislocated out of the front. I was diving to my left, and I'd slipped because it was raining the night before, and field conditions were not great. But then I went to reach with this hand, and then I reached with this one, and I overextended, and the way I landed was awkward, and I got hit by an attacking player at the same time, so it dislodged my arm. It was like the most insane pain, and then I had to have shoulder surgery, which was terrible. Tore all the ligaments out of the front of my shoulder. It was awful. And then I moved back to Orlando, or I moved back to Florida because my grandfather had passed away around that time, and I was living in Orlando for a few years before I ended up coming out to LA. But yeah, so I played soccer pretty much all my life, and I still play here and there.
Wow, that's cool. So Why did you make that transition? Because you smashed your shoulder that you were like, I got to do something else. Maybe I'll be a comedian.
Great question. So when I got injured, I had actually transferred to a school in New York to play there because I left Birmingham, Alabama. 7 months in Birmingham, Alabama is enough.
Is enough.
I'll say, yeah, it's enough.
Ray Scanlon.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah, he's from there.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Yeah, Birmingham, cool place. I'd always been interested in the entertainment industry, and I wanted to see how far I could go with soccer. And so then I moved to New York, continue to play soccer, in the NCAA level. And then when I moved to Orlando, I had a hard time kind of finding my footing until I started working for this new media show called Orlando Live through this company called Concrete Lion Pictures. And I just sort of met them by happenstance. And, then I started doing stand-up comedy there and, hosted their show Orlando Live, which was essentially like a TRL type of a show. If you can remember TRL,
Wait, what's TRL? What is it?
It's a Total Request Live on MTV.
Oh, okay.
And they would have musicians on and play music videos. But what Orlando Live was a show where Orlando creatives like artists, photographers, musicians, comedians would come on the show, and I'd interview them, and then we would, see them, perform, their bit of music or display some artwork, and we would do it live in the heart of downtown every weekday.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, which was really neat,
Yeah.
And I was also like finishing up college and stuff like that.
And so then did you come out to LA after that? What did you do?
Came out to LA October 2011, and been here ever since.
Wow, and I love the way that you find all these different. If there's a link in the show notes to your link tree, and people will see that you're doing all kinds of interesting things, and
Thanks.
it's like I love that about you because you're finding ways to make a living at it. You're finding ways to expand yourself. You're finding the ways to put your interests in with what you're doing. Even if it's cheese. Or go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it back around, Joel. I tend to be long-winded because I'm typically the curious one asking questions on my Florida Versus podcast or an interview or something. But you did ask how I started the blue cheese thing, and when I was in Liverpool, checking out Everton at Goodison Park, and I realized I was like smiling so much. I was like, I'd never been to a place that I'd never been before physically and felt so immediately comfortable. And all the Evertonians, like it felt like I felt immediately like I had been here 1,000 times before. And so I was smiling a ton in all the pictures that we were taking with my friend and his family, and it was his birthday, and I was happy that him and his family were able to join because I had planned this trip for a bit. And then I was just like, blue cheese, like Everton's blue, and then cheese is like me cheesing. And then I thought, wow, what's of the internet genre that I can do that, is just kind of like a fun thing. And so like the internet genre, it's hard to describe, I think, but it's always like successful channels are always like a combination of things. It's like, with this, it's like, all right, it's like comedians in cars getting coffee. Like somehow that just works. There's enough elements
there's a
there.
Combo of things that people enjoy, and there's a lot of crossover for people that enjoy comedy that they enjoy cars for some reason. I mean, Jay Leno, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So I mean, that's the best example. Comedians, interesting personalities and funny people in cars. So they're they're showcasing a new car, driving around in a new car, having issues with a new car, a car. And then, brings in car enthusiasts, as you're suggesting, as you're saying, which is right. And then getting coffee, highlighting the coffee, talking about the discussion, etc.
Yeah, you're right. Coffee's in there too.
It's the perfect combination. It's the perfect combination. And like, I wish Jerry Steinfeld would describe it that way. But, he's the type of guy that's just like, if you're funny, you're funny.
Yeah.
And like, that doesn't really give us a jumping off point. And I guess it might be for is him as the artist. He should allow other people to dissect his work, or scholars to look at it, which we could all say for ourselves. But I just think that's like so internet genre heavy that it's like a number of different streams. Like for me, it's like there's a very small amount of people that like soccer that actually care about or like Everton. It's like the little kid, brother, like I was suggesting, to Liverpool. And then, people like cheese, and then people love reviews and people love recaps. So I thought it was just a very silly thing that I'm going to do this season. And it's just a fun thing for me to do.
That's really cool. What about this thing?
Can you handle fire like an iconic gaming character? Follow me to fire eating class. I rolled out of bed at the crack of noon and flew down to fire eating class taught by Vixen DeVille in Hollywood. I'm hungry for fire. Charizard, Spyro, Fireflower, Mario, Ken. No, not that Ken. The other Ken. And Bowser can all handle fire. Now, I love spicy food, so I got to thinking, can I handle fire like these iconic gaming characters? It turns out that eating fire is a lot of fun. Good thing I dressed like Spyro the Dragon. There were a ton of safety precautions to sign before we could go in and handle fire, which made me feel safe. Though I would feel even safer if I wasn't putting fire inside my mouth. My mouth feels a little crispy. One thing I forgot was about the fact that gasoline is involved. Duh. Nothing like gasoline to wake you up in the morning. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. R.I.P. Jimmy B. So we dipped our wicks, learned a few flame transfers, and I escaped completely unharmed.
Peter, how did it feel?
I eat fire now. That's just my thing. So invite me to a party. Let me know where you're hanging out. Let me know when to go to the beach. I eat fire. How would you handle?
That is so cool. Okay, now tell us what that is and how that came about.
Yeah, so that is touch grass. I love this change of scenery here. That's cool, awesome. Huh? Yeah. That's touch grass, and that is through Enthusiast Gaming, who I used to work for, and that was their little travel show that they had me do. And there's also, when I was in Liverpool, I also did an Everton touch grass, which was fun. And so Enthusiast Gaming is a esports company that they focus on, they also work on Tuesday night, NFL Tuesday Night Gaming, which you had brought up before.
Yeah.
And their Touch Grass channel is on TikTok, and it's got about 250,000
it's huge.
Subscribers. Yeah, it's good. And so then they asked me to take it over after I'd been producing it for a bit and, be in front of the camera. And so what that is, interesting things in the real world that are gaming adjacent or might be interesting to gamers.
Oh, to gamers. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I bring up Spyro. I bring up, Ken from Street Fighter. I bring up Charizard. Loose, it's like gaming adjacent. So just loosely based on, video games or things that you could do in the real world, away from the sticks, away from your controller to do that. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Cool. Yeah. There's some fun ones. And that fire one, that was an instance of me essentially signing up for something and reading it, but not like understanding. It's kind of like understanding like what I'm getting into, because it's kind of like the way that everyone thinks about snowboarding. It's like, oh, snowboarding, that's cool.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. But then you get there and it's freezing, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, breathing fire, eating fire, that's cool. And then, oh, I'm putting gasoline in my mouth.
I can't even believe they have a class like that. It just seems, somebody else told me they took that class too. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? It's just a one-day class where you put fire in your mouth?
It's very cool, very safe. And I loved it. I thought it was awesome. The other people that were in the class with me were people on dates and other people surprising other people with like, hey, this is what we're doing today.
Yeah, right? Like, wow.
But yeah, that was a fun instance. And then, I got to do some other cool stuff and highlight some interesting things that I like to do and some fun places around Los Angeles, like, Cole's, French Dip, which
French Dip
one of the best sandwiches.
I hear that the place across the street is like saying, no, we invented it. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
controversy.
Okay, the controversy is Kohl's has been around for, I think, over 100 years, and they claim to have invented the French dip sandwich. Interesting. The French dip sandwich, I know you're giving some interesting facts earlier about a group of rhinos. It's called a crash. Here's some other interesting info.
All right.
Here's some other interesting info. The French dip was created in Los Angeles by whom we don't know. Also, the Moscow Mule was created in Los Angeles.
It was?
That drink.
What? No. I
that-
thought it was Russian
it was.
for sure. Maybe not
you'd think
Moscow,
so,
but
right?
it's got to be Russian.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the controversy is who invented the French dip sandwich. Is it Kohl's? Is it Felipe's?
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't particularly care.
What?
But I think I don't care who was there first, who does it better, I think Kohl's does it better. They have the best mustard I've ever tasted in my entire life.
That mustard
On top of having, and it's also, Charles Bukowski only got drunk at one of those places, and it was Kohl's.
It was Kohl's. Okay. Well, then, I mean, that's pretty much settles it right there. Kohl's,
yeah, that's it for me.
They had a speakeasy. They had a speakeasy. You said they had a speakeasy in the back too.
They do. They have a little speakeasy. The term speakeasy is like overused in Los Angeles if you go out to bars, but it's a proper speakeasy. It looks like a door that leads to nowhere, and it turns out to be, one of, at least the last time that I had been, it is one of the most wonderful, very, 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 very good cocktail bars in Los Angeles. So worth checking out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bumper here now. Transition. Here we are. Oh, Matt Wright says there's a Venn diagram for you. An FD French dip sandwich you dip in gasoline for fire eating. There you go.
Whoa! Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea.
Seems like a good thing. If you could do that with the other Peter Murphy, I think that would be a killer. Like people would just, the universe would explode. Now, that's the interesting thing, this Venn diagram thing, because I'm reading this book and it keeps coming up, but this book called Doppelganger by Naomi Klein, where she's talking about these diagonal kind of things that are joining, like Venn diagrams, like we're talking about, like where you mix different things, and how it's actually causing trouble because it's taking people from two disparate groups and putting them together, and then they start to believe their own conspiracy theories, and it's like sucking people in. Like you go, hey, look at this cheese over here, and also while you're here, let's take a look at maybe COVID deniers or whatever, you know what I mean? Or Google Chrome deniers like yourself. Well, I just got a full disclosure. When we got on, Peter did not want to download Chrome. And I kind of want to confront you in public here as to like, what? Did you think they were going to like take your information? Is that what it is?
I totally get what you're saying with the internet genre. That's like how I think about it and I describe it.
Yeah.
And it's like, the best are a combination of things. Like I think back to like Jenna Marbles, who was one of the first like YouTube content creators or innovators. The first people that were actually doing sketch comedy was Derek Comedy with Donald Glover and DC Pearson and Dominic Durkes. But Jenna Marbles, it was like makeup tutorials and she was funny. And those two things exist on their own, but that's one channel that overlaps both of them. And it's in like it seems like a sincere way. She's doing both very well, right? Okay, there you go. Hey, Kohl's.
There you go. There you got the answer.
Decade up on.
Thanks,
Greg. Kohl's a decade over Felipe's. Yeah, great.
So there we go.
I mean,
Settled.
As far as the Chrome thing, my computer comes with Safari, so I'm like, I'm good. I'm a Safari guy. I'm an Apple Maps guy. I don't want to, it already comes with it, so I'm going to trust it. I'm like, fine. Maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I'm operating at a lower frequency. But, if it comes with it, I'll take it. I'm the type of person that's not going to modify my order at a restaurant.
I get it. I get it. You like a stock car. You don't like to like throw some crap in there and like all of a sudden maybe throw its whole equilibrium off. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If I'm driving a truck, I'm driving the F-150. I'm not getting it raised. I'm not, putting, giant monster truck wheels on it.
Yeah.
I'm not, doing anything. So yeah, I'm a stock guy.
You don't want to junk it up. You don't want to junk it all up. You want it pure.
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, Chrome creeps me out. Quit. And plus, I always.
Chrome's job is to harvest info for advertising. Matt's totally backing you up.
I always, I knew there was something behind it. Yeah. Anytime I sign into my email account, it's always suggesting that I join Chrome, and I'm like, ugh. One of these days, I'm going to slip up and accidentally hit yes, and then also I'm going to accidentally start my free trial of YouTube TV, which is relentless.
Yeah,
relentless.
See, I went YouTube TV so long ago. I was so sick of DirecTV. I was just like, I cannot handle this anymore. I am going all YouTube TV, and I'm all in on it. So that's the difference between you and me. And I'm clearly like, they're clearly monitoring my every move. So
really,
if I disappear, you know where I went, down the Chrome hole.
The YouTube TV people, man, they're conspiring. How
are you going to watch the NFL? How are you going to do that if you don't have YouTube
Good
TV?
point.
Right?
I have Hulu, but if YouTube TV, and I had Apple Music for a long time. Then I got Spotify because they gave me like 4 months free one year, and I was like, all right, perfect.
Look at this.
So if YouTube TV, Carmelo Lopez, all right, it's awesome. Hey, you know what? If they give me like a 3 months free situation, that's how quick I'll search.
That's how they suck you in, though. They just totally stuck you in. That 3 months goes by, and then you're just all in.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care.
I bet YouTube TV cares more about their interface than whatever Hulu's doing. To be fair, and I'm ready to switch.
They're harvesting. There's too much harvesting.
Yes, exactly.
So what? Okay, so now we're looking at the horizon here. We're getting towards the end of the show, and I wanted to ask you what's happening. What's going to happen on the horizon for you? Clearly, like you're talking about doing a special. Is it worth doing a special now? Is that still the way to, move your career forward? Sounds like you are much more innovative than a lot of the comedians that are out there. You're out on the internet. You're doing all kinds of eclectic things. You're finding companies to work with. And that you're talking about doing the traditional thing, which is to do an hour special and put it on wherever.
Yeah. Great question. And we never can tell what direction we go. In my past, Hulu's listening now, and YouTube TV is also listening, by the way. So if you're listening, but and you want to distribute my comedy special,
get ready for it.
Come and do it. I used to make very big, lofty goals for myself at the beginning of every year, and I used to be frustrated when I wouldn't achieve them. But then in the last few years, maybe this is a big shift in the COVID years that we had, is I set out for a goal, and then wherever that takes me, I'd be happy to be there. And so last year, I put out an hour-long recording, and it's not. I wouldn't call it a special necessarily. I didn't treat it like a special, but it's audio only, and you can find it. Thanks for sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
You can find it on my Linktree and anywhere. But that encouraged me to do. I don't know. That was just like a cool thing to put out, and the stories in there
in the stream of your podcast, right? I mean, it's in the.
That's right.
It's like on your feed, and it's also for those of you that want to hear about Oppenheimer. It's a whole thing about the Oppenheimer experience, which is really funny and really fun.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I felt like I had to retire that story, so I won't be doing that in my special, but. I mean, hey, man, I think about all the quotes that I've heard of successful people, and a lot of them that ring true to me are ones that think like, hey, man, you never know if this is the last job you'll ever get. You'll never know what's next. And part of that's exciting. Part of that is terrifying. And so for me, what's on the horizon is April 12th. I'm performing at Flappers in Burbank in the main room. 230 seats. It's a lot of seats to fill for someone like me. And so my goal right there, and I know that's coming up less than a month, is to sell that room out. Then in late July, early August, I'm recording a special. And, your question was a great one. It's like, can you move your career forward that way? And, even regardless of what comes from it, this is the painting that I want to paint, and this is the flag that I want to plant in the ground, where I can say, look at this piece of work that I've done, this project. I stand by this, and I love this, and this is all encompassing of me, and it is art for art's sake, and that is what's motivating me. Beyond the fact that I have a little more free time thanks to some of the projects that I was able to work on last year and at the beginning of this year. So that's what's motivating me.
I love that. Here's the link is in the show notes, as we say, to the link tree. But there it is, Flappers Comedy. And does this say the date?
That's my profile, but yeah, if you scroll down to April 12th,
there it is.
There's a bunch of good shows coming up too, but yeah, April 12th there, and the lineup is there too. I got some good friends performing with me, some Flappers favorites, and yeah, I'm if you want to just come out to any show on Wednesdays or Fridays, I'm up in Flappers in Burbank. On Monday nights, you find me at Third Wheel in Hollywood, and then every once or twice, maybe 3 times a month now at the Hollywood Improv. So I'm staying busy, and I want to turn all this into a feature-length comedy special, and whether it goes anywhere, it does anything, I want it to be the best work that I could possibly do in this time.
I love that. Okay, so that's now at the end of the show. Thanks so much for being on the show. This has been super informative and fun totally different. I love it. I'm at the end of the show, which I didn't tell you, is we do a dance break. We're going to play a cover song, and we're going to dance around to it. Today, I've got a cover song of the Gorillaz song, Clint Eastwood, which I played one earlier this week on my other show, which is on Tuesday. And this is a reggae version.
Whoa.
It's going to be super cool. And Ray Scanlon says, came in late, but good shit, Peter. So there's that. Everybody's
Thanks, Ray.
enjoying this. So let's do this thing. We're going to listen to this. Never been played on this show before. And I mean, they're making a good case for reggae, Gorillaz reggae covers. So dance them if you got them. Thanks for being on the show. Hopefully you'll come by again sometime. Everybody go to see his show on April 12th, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. So
yeah, it's late, but it's a Friday.
Get a nap.
Yeah, it's a Friday. It's a Friday. Come on, it's a Friday.
Let's do this thing. All right, dance break. I think you're gonna like this. Right, Reggae Bash Studio. Boo Boos All Stars featuring Oliver Smith. You know this song?
Yeah, of course.
Of course, it's a great song. I don't know why it's called Clint Eastwood. Actually, I do. But I'll save that for another day. Well, because they thought it sounded like the spaghetti western music from a Clint Eastwood.
Oh, this only enhances that. Yeah, the way that this guy's singing it.
That's right.
I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, not for long. The future is coming on. I'm happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, not for long. The future is coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on. It's coming on.
More Zone inspired.
Finally, someone let me out of my cage. Now time for me is nothing, cause I'm counting your edge. Now I couldn't be there. Now you shouldn't be scared. I'm good at the best, and I'm under a snare. Intangible, bet you didn't think, so I command you to. Panoramic view, look at, make it all manageable. Pick and choose, sit and lose all your different crews. Chicks and dudes, who you think is really kicking tunes. Picture you getting down in the picture too. Like you lit the fuse, you think it's fictional, mystical, maybe spiritual hero who appeasing you to clear your view when you're too crazy, lifeless. To go to definition for what life is, priceless to you because I put you on a high shit. You like it, gun smoking right.
Works.
With one
It totally
touch,
works.
Psychic among those possessed you with one. I'm happy, I'm feeling glad I got sunshine.
Oh, he's got one of those things.
I'm useless,
I gotta get one of those things.
What is that called?
I I have no idea, but I've seen a lot of them lately. They got one with like a long tube too. that comes out. Play it over here. Ah, yeah. It ain't no Bauhaus, but it's damn good. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for being on the show, and we'll see you next week on Lunch Therapy.